Reproduction means, just by definition, that there's somebody else, right? If you can't say this is reproduction and not have reproduction. Welcome to another reaction video. Today we're going to be responding to a young lady named Amanda Gorman, who is the National Youth Poet Laureate. And the first thing to note is I didn't even know we had one of those.
8 reasons to stand up today against abortion bans in the United States. 1. Let's get this straight. When the penalty for rape is less than the penalty for abortion after the rape, you know this isn't about caring for women and girls, it's about controlling them.
So if the penalty for rape is less than the penalty for the woman who has to carry the child after the rape, okay, she's got a point there. So let's raise the penalty for rape. Let's execute rapists instead of executing the kid. How's that? I think that's a sufficient answer. 2.
Through forcing them into motherhood before they're ready, these bans steadily sustain the patriarchy, but also chain families in poverty and maintain economic inequality.
By forcing a woman to have a child, no one is forcing her to be sexually active. No one is forcing her to conceive the child. The issue is not, are we going out rounding women up and forcing them to conceive a child, for raping them, forcing them to bear a child? No, that's a handmaid. that's Handmaid's Tale stuff, from what I hear. I never watched that stuff, but that would be really bad. But what she's saying is she wants women to be free, to be sexually liberated, and not have to face up to any of the consequences of what they are doing.
3. Pregnancy is a private and personal decision.
Pregnancy is a private and personal decision. Yes, it is personal, but there are 2 persons. Actually, there are 3 persons. There's the father, there's the mother, and there's the child. Yes, it is personal, but it is not one personal. It's minimum of 2 persons.
It should not require the permission of any politician for.
It's kind of hard to know where to start. She's saying that it's a personal matter whether or not I kill my child. And politicians should have nothing to say about whether one citizen of their country can kill another person in their country. And she said, but she might say, but the child is not a child. The child is just a cluster of cells. And I say, fine, that's the debate then. Don't just assume what you need to prove. You need to establish for us that this person is not a person, and then we could get somewhere.
For all time, regardless of whether it's a crime, women have and will always seek their own reproductive destinies. All these penalties do is subdue women's freedom to get healthy, safe services when they most need them.
Reproduction means, just by definition, that there's somebody else, right? If you can't say this is reproduction and not have reproduction. If you have reproduction, the end result of reproduction is another person. If you don't have another person as the result of the reproduction, then it isn't reproduction. So it's only reproduction if the woman isn't the only one with a vote. If she says, I have the right to chop off a finger of mine if I want, you could argue that that's a personal health decision. She's chopping off a finger, and nobody disputes that it's her finger. But when she invokes the language of reproduction, the end result of reproduction is always somebody else.
5. Fight to keep Roe v. Wade alive. By the term overturn Roe v. Wade, the main concern is that the Supreme Court will let states thwart a woman's path to abortion with undue burdens.
Yes, we agree. That's what it means. Go team, go.
But one thing is true and certain. 6. These predictions aren't a distortion, hypothetical, or theoretical. Women already face the disproportion of undue burdens when seeking abortions if the sexes in all people are to be equal. Abortion has to be actually accessible and not just technically legal. 7.
In other words, she's saying women should be as free to get an abortion as men currently are. This highlights the fact that this whole bloodthirsty jihad is at war with the way God made the world. It's at war with the nature of men and women. Women are those who bear children. Women are the ones who conceive and bear children. And when they conceive, they are conceiving another person. God is bringing someone else into the world. And there's absolutely no way that you can level that playing field. There's no way that you can make a woman's destiny as carefree, scare quotes, carefree, as a man's is.
7. Despite what you might hear, this right here isn't only about women and girls. This fight is about fundamental civil rights. Women are a big part of it, but at the heart of it, our freedom over how fast our families grow goes farther and larger than any one of us. It's about every single one of us.
Except for the kid.
8. Fight for Roe v. Wade in the United States, because this change can't wait. We've got the energy, the moment, the movement, and the thundering numbers. The Altlight's biggest blunder is that most Americans aren't under their impression that a woman's body is up to them to decide. So when you're outraged, these lawmakers are terrified. They want our tide to lose hope, to back up, pack up, and go home. So don't. We won't. We are never alone when we fight fire with feminism. So go. Be unafraid. We will not be delayed. We will not be masquerade to the tale of a handmaid. We will not let Roe v. Wade slowly fade, because when we show up...
Started to rhyme there at the end. I was kind of worried that she wasn't actually a poet laureate.
We show up today. We're already standing up with the tomorrow we made.
With the dead baby. Out now, exclusively on Canon Plus, is Michael Foster's new documentary, Map to Manhood. I'm fond of saying that if the boys don't learn, the men won't know. Because we live in a time when the men have not been teaching the boys don't know, which means these boys, as future men, don't know. In healthier times, fathers would instruct their sons. But because so much of that has fallen apart, men today who want to learn and know these things have to be much more intentional about searching out the truth. Consider this documentary as the next step to take. Watch now at mycanonplus.com.